Hey, did you ever buy a computer to replace the old one, and then when you get it and you unbox it and you're thinking, this is so difficult, I wish I hadn't done it at all? Well, this is Mike with Ham Radio Deluxe. If you'll stick with me in this three-part series, we'll show you how to get it done. If you find this video useful, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and click the notification bell.
I got a new computer, so I'm going to do an unboxing video, and Annie's going to help me with the camera work. And I'm going to go through the whole process from unboxing, so the bulk of it will be an unboxing video, and then I'm going to go through kind of a configuration of the computer video. I'll just run through the whole thing from beginning to end, how to get everything from your existing computer to your new computer and get everything set up. So with that, let's begin. So what I have is I've got a new computer from Dell. I'll go into the specs on this later, but it didn't have enough USB ports, so I also bought a USB expansion, and I also have a Samsung 49-inch monitor that I'm going to use. So to do the unboxing, I'm going to use a box cutter. We move a lot, so I'm going to use I'm going to reuse the boxes, because when we move, it's nice to have the boxes, and you know, we ham radio operators need the boxes for everything. So I'm going to start by just opening it up. I always like to just kind of cut along the edges where the tape is, and then I'll cut a piece on one end, and then you don't want to put the knife in there too far, because you don't want to cut what's inside, right? So we're going to start by unboxing this. So let's see what's inside the box. So we've got probably keyboard. It's probably a wired keyboard, so if it's a wired keyboard, I'm going to use it for configuring, but I'm otherwise going to use it's a wired keyboard, so I'm going to use it for the configuring, but I've got a wireless keyboard that I'll use once I get everything set up. So I'm going to set that aside for a moment, and then here I've got the power cable and the wired mouse, which again I won't be using in the end, and some instruction guides that tell you how to plug in things. I'm going to show you how to plug things in, so I'm not going to go through that. Warranty information, so you probably just want to take these things out or leave them in the box if you're going to save the box and just keep them for later. I'm going to toss this aside. Okay, so let's take a look in here and see what we got. Pretty simple packing. Just the computer packed in some styrofoam to keep it safe. So what we're going to do then is, it looks like, which is the top of which is the bottom? This is the bottom. So I'm going to lift this up like this, and slide it out like this. Set the box aside so that we don't lose it. Put that in there. Okay. So to protect it, they've got some plastic on here wrapped around here, so we're going to pull that stuff off. Okay. So, we've got an SD slot, we've got the CD-ROM drive, we've got the headphone jack, we've got some USB ports, there's a USB-C port on the front. Then on the back, we've got some video connector ports here. I got DisplayPort adapters because I want to have the highest resolution video I can get. There's 4 USBs on the back with an additional USB-C and sound card outputs here, input outputs, and power. So I'm going to, like I said, I've got this additional USB card to put in there, but I'm not going to do it while I'm doing the initial configuration in case there's something about it that it doesn't like. So when I configure computers, I like to stay off the wireless. So first thing I'm going to do is connect up the Ethernet cable to my home network. And so it's basically just a regular old Ethernet cable. I'm going to plug that in, get the power cable connected. This is where I'll fast forward the video. And I'm not going to plug it into the power yet. I'm just going to get this thing in there. I'm going to plug the mouse in after it breaks. And let's see. I'm just going to plug that in here. And I'm going to sit the mouse on top for the moment. Get the keyboard out. Pop that over there. And okay, so I've got those things plugged in, and the power cable's not connected to an outlet yet, so I'm going to turn this around. Once again, attempting to break the mouse. And I'm going to turn this around and just leave it set over here until I unbox the monitor. So let's do that next. Okay, the monitor probably causes me to put this on the floor. I hope it's just the box that's this heavy. Alright. Once again, I'm going to cut the box open the same way I cut the last one. Just a little bit. And the rest of it will probably open without cutting, except for that part right there. Okay. So, this is the first time I will have such a large monitor. I presently have two 24-inch monitors, and I was getting frustrated with dragging things back and forth. So I figure I can give my two 24-inch monitors to Annie, and I can get myself a new monitor. So I'm going to take all this stuff off. This is the stand that the monitor will sit on. I'm going to sit that in here. Uh-oh. Okay. Okay. So there's that. A bit like Christmas with wrapping paper. What's this? This is, looks like some sort of cable management gadget that we'll get to later. This is probably the cabling kit. Let's see what's in here. So in here we've got the power cable. Here is a USB-C cable. Here is a HDMI on one end, HDMI on both ends. This is a DisplayPort cable, and then which is the one I want to use. It doesn't look long enough, and then this is probably a wall mount. This is a wall mounting bracket that I'm just going to put back in the box because I'm not mounting it to the wall. Okay, I'm going to save that off here. Okay, this is probably a bezel for where the cables attach on the back. We'll set that there. And this is the arm that stands on top of this. This will need to be screwed in. And then probably this is holding some screws in, which it is. And so I'll just take that off when I'm ready to screw it in where it goes. And so here's the exciting part. This is a 49-inch monitor. Okay, so I can see that this is probably where the arm mounts. So I probably will need that piece I was talking about earlier, although it looked like a wall mount. So on the bottom here, we've got all the display adapter and power cable goes in over here. So now we've got to figure out how to attach this to here. So I'm going to go and get a screwdriver and I'll be back. Okay, I got screwdrivers here, so I'm going to screw this into this here, and which I think is what needs to happen. I'm not going to go with the hey, we're guys, right? So we're not going to go with the instructions. So we're just going to wing it. So let's expose all the screws here. Not sure why they chose to do it that way, but perfectly fine. So okay. So things are going to go over. That's fine. Okay. As I put these in, I'm not going to tighten any one of them all the way until they're all in a bit. It'll just make the rest of it go smoother, kind of like you would if you're changing your tire. This one doesn't seem to be catching. Is it catching? Yeah, it might be. Nope. So why not? Which is exactly why I didn't tighten them. Okay, they've all made a start. And now I'm going to tighten them. And I'm going to tighten them reasonably tight. I'm not going to try to over tighten them. It would be bad if we stripped out the holes. So now I'm going to tighten down all 4 of them. Alright. Next is where we're going to put this on, and it screws on as well. And I think what I'll do for this is, can I hold this down for that? Just kind of get that there. Thank you. And they include kind of these finger screw things here, which is fine, just to get them started. Okay, they're both started, so I'm going to get the rest of it with the screwdriver. Not all the way tight yet. And I'm going to tighten this one, tighten this one. Tighten this one, and then this one, and that should be good to go. So, now for the fun part. How am I going to get that on the desk? I'm going to need my camera person to let go of the camera long enough to get the thing out of the box, but we'll see. I mean, after all, shouldn't one person be able to handle this? Alright, let's try to get it under the table without dropping it. That is a monstrosity. Okay, so back to the box for the moment. I'm going to put all the packing back in the box because we may use it. And back in here. Close up the box and get it out of the way. Alright. Alright, cool. So now I'm going to take off all of the tape and all that kind of stuff that they left on here. And whee, that's my favorite part. This stuff is on here just to prevent the boxes from scratching it while it's in transit. Okay. Trash. Right. So making sure it's on the table. So now, that is massive. Is that not massive? Anyway. Alright. So, I'm going to get the monitor all plugged up. I'm going to unwrap the power cable. And let's start with this HDMI cable, I think. I prefer to use, how long is the DisplayPort cable? We'll see if we can do that. DisplayPort gives you better video, and I think that's the better way to go. Better screen resolution. Get all the, if you're going to buy a 49-inch monitor, you might as well get the best screen resolution you can. So, I'm going to come around and figure out where this plugs in.
Let's see here. I need a flashlight. One moment. Alright, a flashlight given to me by Novell. Okay. Digital port in, which is this guy right here. Our display port's what it meant to say. There. Display port in. That is going to go to the display port output on the computer, and the power cable on back here, and the power cable goes over here. So I'll plug this boy in here. Alright, so next I'm going to come over here and find the display port here, which I don't know where that is. It can only be here. Although that says USB, that doesn't look right. You know what? Just for the sake of breaking the mouse again, I'm going to use the HDMI cable to configure all this, and then I'll come back later and change it. So, and I'm having trouble seeing it. That's better. Alright, here's the HDMI here. So I'm going to plug that in there. Alright. And I'm going to come back to the back of the monitor and to unplug this, figure out which one of these is the HDMI in, which is this one. Plug that in. Everybody watching this video is rooting for me. There we go. Alright. Very good. Alright. Next, I'm going to plug it into power. So I've got an outlet strip back here somewhere. Secreted away. Plug this in. First of all, just going to turn the monitor on. Oh, so I can see the monitor light is lit. And then it's out. So I'm going to turn it on. Good. I saw the little screen light up. And then I'm going to plug in the PC. Alright, and now I'm going to turn on the PC. Actually, I'll clear this area here, because I'm going to put the keyboard and mouse down here. Okay. Alright, exciting times. Turning it on. What's it going to look like? What's it going to look like? This swells a bit then, doesn't it? That's kind of cool. Woo! It's a big moment when the computer comes on.
It presently sees that I'm in Australia. I'm going to go ahead and go with that. And the keyboard layout will be US. And I'm going to skip the process of adding a second keyboard layout. Okay, here's why I connected it to my wired network. At this point, I want it to go ahead and check for updates. I don't want to have to mess with configuring the wireless connection and all that stuff. I just want to have it plugged into the network so they can just automatically go and get updates to make sure that I have the latest. I have no idea how long this is going to take. We have a fast internet connection here, and so we're just going to, unfortunately, wait and see. There we go. See how long it takes. Looks like it's rebooting now. Okay, it wants me to preview the license agreement. I recommend that you read every single word of this. It's very important. Still speed reading. Microsoft has the best lawyers in the world. Reading. Okay, done. Alright. I'm going to name my device. Okay. So I'm going to call it WA9PIE-PC11 because it's Windows 11 and it's WA9's PC, so we'll go with that. This, by the way, is one of the reasons why I recommend, and the approach I'm taking is, I've got my other PC and it's still running, it's still capable of doing everything I want it to do. But I want to get this one completely configured before I try to swap it out. So I didn't start by putting this one in place of my other one. I recommend that you find another place, like this temporary table, where you can configure the new one, because as we go through this, we're just going to let it set, and while it syncs up all its files, gets all of its updates, and all that kind of thing. So now it's my Microsoft password, and I recommend that you use your Microsoft password with your Windows 11 or 10 PC for that matter. Let me make sure I got the password right. I'm going to create a pin. Okay, so now it wants to know what I want to do. So I've got a Windows 11 laptop, but I don't want to try to create this desktop off the laptop, so I'm going to set this up as a new device. And now it wants to do all kinds of great stuff like location finding, diagnostics, inking and typing, tailored experiences. I'm just leave all this stuff turned on. There's nothing wrong with it. And accept those settings. And then customize my experience. Well, let's see. I'm going to use it for business. I'm going to use it for actually, people aren't going to have their own profile on it. I'll check that anyway. It's okay. I'm going to definitely use it with social media and probably not gaming particularly. And I don't have school. I'm going to check the creativity bit. So basically, I've checked everything except for school and gaming. I do collaborate on projects though, but hopefully then that's part of the business setting. So I'll accept that. And Definitely, I'm using OneDrive, but I'll install all that stuff here in a few minutes. I'm going to say next. And it's telling me that if I use Microsoft 365, that I get a gigabit of storage, access to all of the Windows or Microsoft Office apps, and file storage and security and OneDrive and all that stuff. We're already Office 365 customers, so I'll show you how that stuff will set up later. And I do highly recommend Microsoft 365. So I'm going to put my Aussie phone number in here, I think. I can change that later. Come on now. Let's try it this way. There. The phone number entered and all my stuff in there. I agree with the privacy stuff. I don't want McAfee. We'll get to that here later. Use my information to register my McAfee service. I don't want McAfee. In fact, I find it somewhat annoying that we even put McAfee on here in the first place. But I did agree with the Dell policy. I don't want to do the McAfee thing, so I'm going to go on. Microsoft Security Essentials are essentials. Microsoft Security Essentials are perfectly fine for me, so McAfee just makes things hard, and so I'm going to press the easy button and just use Microsoft stuff. So this might take a few minutes. Don't turn off the PC. We can already see that the screen is we're starting to see more of the screen real estate being used.
Don't forget to watch for part 2 of this series, where I'll show how to get all your software installed and sync up your files from your old computer.